California has more hydrogen refueling stations than any other region in the United States, yet it exposes one of the most uncomfortable truths in green hydrogen deployment. Infrastructure can exist on paper and even on the ground, while economics quietly unravel over time. The lesson from California's hydrogen station network is not about electrolyzers, not about fuel cells, and not even primarily about demand. It is about time. Project timelines, power access delays, and approval processes quietly decide whether hydrogen projects survive long enough to matter. From the outside, California appears to be a hydrogen success story. Dozens of stations have been built across the state. Automakers deployed fuel cell vehicles. Public funding flowed. Hydrogen became embedded in the clean transportation narrative. But when you step inside the system, a more constrained reality emerges. Hydrogen stations are rarely limited by equipment availability. They are limited by when, how, and under what conditions they can reliably operate within the surrounding energy and supply system. Power access in California is not a binary question. It is not simply whether electricity exists nearby. It is about timelines, how long it takes to secure service upgrades, complete studies, execute utility work, and align operational readiness. For hydrogen stations that rely on grid power for compression, cooling, or on-site electrolysis, these timelines are not controlled by developers. They are controlled by utilities and regulatory processes, and those timelines can stretch far longer than most business models assume. This is where the economics begin to fracture. Hydrogen station models assume utilization ramps. They assume that once a station is built, hydrogen supply becomes available, throughput increases, and fixed costs are absorbed over time. But when power access, supply logistics, or commissioning timelines slip, capital is already deployed while revenue is delayed. Every month of delay compounds financial stress. In California, these delays are not primarily about a lack of electricity. They are about sequencing and process. Utilities must assess impacts, determine upgrade requirements, schedule construction, and manage competing priorities across the grid. Hydrogen infrastructure does not automatically move faster because it is clean. It must progress through the same planning and approval machinery as everything else. This is often discovered only after construction is underway. Developers may see nearby infrastructure. They may assume adequate capacity exists. But until service upgrades are completed and approvals finalized, that capacity remains unavailable in practice. Projects wait through studies, design phases, and construction schedules that operate on timelines measured in years, not quarters. Time becomes the hidden cost. Financing does not pause while approvals move. Lease payments continue. Equipment warranties begin counting down. Maintenance and staffing costs accumulate. Yet hydrogen output may remain constrained or intermittent. This is how projects struggle without ever experiencing a single technical failure. California's hydrogen station network illustrates a deeper system collision. Hydrogen infrastructure is being deployed into an energy system that was not designed for rapid, synchronized expansion. Electrification has accelerated demand across transportation, buildings, and industry. Grid adaptation has been slower. The result is not widespread outages. The result is friction, delays that quietly erode project economics. Hydrogen stations are particularly exposed because they sit at the intersection of transportation, power, and industrial supply chains. They are neither simple loads nor simple generation assets. They require predictable access to electricity and reliable hydrogen supply to function economically. Timeline uncertainty propagates through every part of their financial structure. Utilization assumptions are often the first to break. A station designed for a certain daily throughput cannot achieve it if power access, supply logistics, or commissioning are delayed. Fixed costs remain fixed. Variable costs rise. Delivered hydrogen prices increase. Demand softens. The system feeds back on itself. This is why time risk is not a permitting footnote. It is a first-order economic variable. A one-year delay can materially alter project returns. A multi-year delay can render a station economically fragile, even if the technology itself works as designed. These delays are not edge cases. They are structural characteristics of infrastructure-heavy systems. California's hydrogen stations show that hydrogen economics are decided long before molecules move. They are decided in service upgrade timelines, approval calendars, construction sequencing, and supply coordination. Projects do not fail because hydrogen does not function. They fail because time reshapes their cost structure. At this point in the video, this is where Renee Energy points viewers to H2 Hub. Not as a pitch, but as a place where hydrogen projects are evaluated through constraints rather than optimism. Where timelines, utilization risk, financing exposure, and execution sequencing are treated as core variables. If you are assessing hydrogen infrastructure, this is the level of thinking required to understand whether a project survives reality. The broader lesson from California is not that hydrogen stations should not be built. It is that hydrogen infrastructure cannot be planned in isolation. Timeline risk must be integrated into economic modeling from day one. If delay risk is not priced, the project is already exposed. This also explains why some stations appear built but underperform. It is not always demand, it is often coordination. Power that exists geographically may not be usable operationally. Supply that exists contractually may not be reliable at scale. Hydrogen remains theoretical while timelines slip. Looking toward 2030, this challenge intensifies. Electrification increases competition for utility attention and infrastructure upgrades. Data centers, EV charging hubs, industrial electrification, and storage all compete for the same execution capacity. Hydrogen does not receive automatic priority because it is clean. It competes within the same system. By 2035, the projects that survive will be those that align development sequencing with grid and utility realities. Those that assume instantaneous readiness will struggle. By 2050, hydrogen systems that endure will be those embedded into grid-aware planning frameworks, not those built on standalone assumptions. California's hydrogen station network is not a failure story. It is a systems lesson. Technology is necessary, but time is decisive. Timelines are invisible in renderings, but they are unmistakable in balance sheets. Hydrogen does not lose in California because it lacks innovation. It loses when timelines outpace financing tolerance. That is the real constraint shaping green hydrogen economics today.